Hi everyone. So we are solving the problem acceptance rate by date. This question has been asked in an FP interview. It's a medium difficulty question. We are solving it using Python. So let's go through the question. What is the overall friend acceptance rate by date? Your output should have the rate of acceptances by date the request was sent, order by earliest to latest. Got it? Okay, so what do we have? We have a data frame called fp underscore friend requests, which has a user ID for sender, user ID for receiver. And what I understand from this is every request should have a sender and a receiver, the date when the request was sent, and an action on that request. So let's read the other part of the question. Assume that each friend request starts by a user ID sender sending request to user ID receiver. Great, which we have over here. That's logged in the table with action sent. Okay, so your action will be sent wherever someone sends a request, and your action will be accepted whenever someone accepts the request. If the request is not accepted, no record of action accepted is logged. Fine. Let's look at the input. So if I look at this, okay, so if you look at this, these two belong to the same request because they have the same sender and same sender IDs and the same receiver IDs. So a request was sent on this particular date, 4th Jan, and it was accepted on 6th Jan. Similarly, this request was sent and accepted, and this request from this user to this user was only sent, it hasn't been accepted yet. So which is what it says here: if request is not accepted, no record of action equals to accepted is logged. Great. Let's go back to the question and try to find out what we need to uh, code or solution. Find the overall friend acceptance rate by date. So whenever I see by date, right, it means I need to group this data by date. And friend acceptance rate would be uh, the number of requests accepted divided by the number of requests sent on this particular date. Fine. So even before I code this problem, let's try to mentally break this down as to how we would solve it in parts. So what we need to do is, for every date which is grouped by date, find out requests accepted divided by request sent. Okay, now how do I do this? If you look at the input table, you have a different row for sent and accepted for the same request. However, if I need to do a calculation and group by this on the basis of date, I need to have the same the sent and accepted inputs on the same row. How I can do that is, let me break this table into two parts. I'll take out all the rows with action sent and all the rows with action accepted and do a join on the two parts of the table. Okay, so the first thing I'll do is create a data frame where action equals sent, and then the second thing I'll do is create a data frame where action equals accepted. Third thing I would do is I need to merge the two data frames so that I can do calculations on the basis of it. And the fourth is the actual calculation that I would do, which is, first you need to group by date. Then for every date, now for every date you have a column, right? And you have two dates, so you need to group by send date, because every request would have a sent action equals to sent, but not every request would have action equals accepted. Okay, and then you need to find the count of accepted and divided by the count of sent. Okay, so these are the four logical steps how we would solve this problem. Let's start with the first one. So what I'll do is, for all the sent requests, I'll create a data frame. How? I'll just pick this input data frame and filter out the column action equals to sent. Same thing I would do for point number 2, which is, instead of sent request, let me say accepted request, and here the action would be accepted. Okay. Now let's merge the two data frames, right? So we'll do a join. Now every request has a sent request. It might not have an accepted action row, but it will have a sent action row. So we'll need to keep the sent request data frame on the left hand side and do a left join. How you do that is, let's say I create a new data frame which is merged, or let me just call simply as df underscore merged, which should be, I'll use the pandas merge function. This will accept two parameters. One is your sent request, the other is your accepted request. Then you need to specify what is the left tables column that you join on. Again, you would join this on. You need, for every request to identify it uniquely, you need both user ID, sender and receiver, a combination of the two. So I'll pass on a list where containing both of these. So user ID sender goes here, user ID receiver goes here. Now what you need to do is, even on the right table, you'll pull the same columns, which is these, and I forgot to close this. So let me do that here. Okay, I've done it here. No, I haven't. Sorry. Yep. And then you need to specify how you're going to join it, which should be a left join. Let's look at the merge table. So all your underscore x is the left table, where you see all the sent records over here, and only a few of them have been accepted. Like you see, this one isn't accepted, and this one as well. Great. Now the next thing you need to do is, now we need to calculate the acceptance rate by date, right? So all of these columns needs to be, like the same date ones needs to be grouped by. So we'll group by send date, which is date underscore x. So what you do is, let's say I call this count. Um, uh, just thinking of a good name. Acceptance rate. Okay, acceptance count would be a good name. Okay, acceptance count would be, we'll take the merge data frame and then we would group by what, date underscore x. Okay, now we need to count all the columns, like the number of records, uh, and then whenever you use group by, you also use a reset index, so that uh, uh, what group by does is, it will index this particular column, the column which you to use to group by. So you need to remove it out of the index. Okay, now what we can do is, let's run this and see our output. Great. So we have the count of action X, which is a sent, and the action Y. Now all we need to do is, for each of this date, just divide 3 by 4. Like accepted is 3, sent is 4, so it's 75%, and the same goes here. To do that, let's add a column, right? One more column which does this division operation. So I will take acceptance underscore count, and I'll add a new column Let me rename that column as acceptance ratio equals, and all you need to do is just pick up the two columns and divide it, which is action y divided by action x. So action underscore y divided by action underscore x, and that's, let's see whether that got added, and it did. Now all we need to do is show date over here as well. So what I can do is date and acceptance ratio. So okay, so let me say I'll calculate the result as that would be acceptance count, which should be a data frame, will contain two values. One is your date underscore x, your send date, and the other is the one that you just created newly, which is acceptance ratio. Let me try to run this. Okay, here's the solution. Let's check it. Perfect. This is accepted. Thank you.